Hey everybody, Brooke with Mrs. Cog Hill Farm on a frigid day here in Alabama. Temperatures are right above freezing. It is a little after lunch and I came down to the old barn to give Pink a can of food, make sure everything was okay down here, and I went to work. I just can't sit still. I have a problem. My goal for this week was to get some things together. When you have a farm or you do things, you work on things, you accumulate some old pieces of metal. And my goal for this week, I always try to set myself goals as to what I'm going to do the next week. Rain, shine, sleet, or snow, I was going to load up some scrap metal and take it to the scrap metal yard so I could clear of some things that have been in the way for a while. Well, today was something that I have put off for a while. And the reason being, y'all see behind me, you see that overgrowth? Well, we saved the chain link fence parts. When we bought this property, there were 2 double chain link fence. And we took that down. Well, we stored it back here for another purpose. And we've been wanting to move it, but it was so intertwined in vines and things that were growing on it, much less the possibility of a snake being up under it. So today I went through all of this, and you can see my pile of, it's not going to the scrap metal. I just wanted to get that separated so I could get the pieces that were not good out and put that in the scrap metal pile. Well, I got that all done, and I thought to myself, since I'm going to the scrap metal yard, I might go see about getting that old tank that's down here back behind the property, because that thing's pretty heavy, and once the logging crew comes to thin out some of the timber, when it dries out, probably going to be summertime, it doesn't need to be in their way. So I walked down, let me just show you. Hey, Pinky. Got Miss Pinky with me. Yeah. How are you this morning? Huh? You got a warm spot in the barn. You should go back in there instead of following me. But I have a feeling you're happy just being carried. So, y'all, I took my little usual path of clearing right back here behind Implement Alley. And I'm looking, trying to figure out exactly where that tank was. And I'm going to turn the camera around and see if y'all can see it from here. Right in front of us is a piece of metal standing up. And that metal's probably been here for a long, long time. But I couldn't remember why that metal was here. And so that was my first stop before I went searching for the tank that I was initially in search of. There are a lot of vines, and y'all can see how much overgrowth it is back here and how much it needs to be thinned out. This is where, on the other side here, this is where I was working. And that's what I cleared out with the skid steer previously. Now, we don't have a mulcher, and some of y'all have said we should hire a mulcher to come in. But if you remember, when we first bought our property, we did hire a mulcher. That's how all the rest of the property got clear. But this is different down here. This is some bigger trees that can't be mulched. They need to be thinned out so other things can grow. All right, so here's where I landed. This is the first piece of metal. It just looks like a big old dent up piece of metal. But let me tell y'all something. This metal is thicker than anything I've ever encountered. It's not like roofing metal. And of course, they don't make things now the way they made things back then. But this is the one that has me confused. So, I think it's been on the ground. I don't think it's ever been moved. And then you get down here, and here's a big hole in the ground. Right there, a big hole in the ground. Now, a critter could have done that. But what I'm wondering, I cannot pick this thing up. I don't care how hard I try. There's no way I can pick it up. And it's cold today. I'm wondering what's under here. Maybe nothing. Maybe a giant hole. Maybe a tank under there. I don't know what they had going on. I told y'all at one time I thought there was some moonshine being made on this property many, many years ago. And that may have been the case, and if it was, so be it. But I would like to know a little history. So even if there's nothing there, I want to know what it is. The best way for me to do that is not on my tractor because it doesn't have a cab, but my skid steer does. And while I am down here trying to figure out what's under here, I can knock down a little bit of this overgrowth because the creek's right behind us. I don't know if you can see, but the old barn is right up at the top of the hill there. You see it? And some of this stuff I can push up. You know, it still needs to be thinned out, but I can do a little bit with the skid steer. Even though I can't take out many trees, I can do a little bit. So Pink and I'm going to drop Pink off at the old barn. I'm going to get in the skid steer and I'm going to come over here and I'm going to push this piece of metal out of the way. Yes, I'm going to be very careful. I do know that at this other end down here, I can push from that end because I can see in front of me. Now, it may be that it's completely hollow up under here. I don't know. I don't know what to expect. And Jason knows nothing of this. He's busy editing, and let's just hope I don't have to call for help. Well, sometimes I may do things that I probably shouldn't. Right, Pink? And I still don't know how much further that old tank is, but if I make a path with the skid steer, then I'm more likely to be able to get in here and get it out of here and take it with my load of scrap metal that I do intend to take anyway. And who knows, we may decide to keep the tank and use it for something else. I just want to get it out from back here in the woods where it's serving no purpose. So I just walked through the gate and I'm not about to attempt to leave that gate open in anticipation that Rocky and Bandit won't go through it because it is still hunting season. And hunters like to hunt when the temperatures are cold. Makes the deer move. So I don't know if y'all can see them, but back behind me on the top of the hill, my Secret Service is watching me like a hawk. So I'm going to go in the shop, turn off the electricity, drive the skid steer down, and unhook it and shut it right back behind me. Not only did I get the electricity cut off, I got a little bit of heat worked up inside my head before I came outside. So off with the hat because I'm going to be in the cab. And I got hot earlier when I was picking up all those poles and moving that chain link fence. I had to shed some clothes. So I always wondered how people lived in the north. And they just work all the time. That's the only way you can survive. Just get your body heat up and just work, because I couldn't stand it unless I was busy doing something. All right, Bobby. You gonna crank in this cold weather? I sure hope so. All right, y'all, she cranked right up. It's just on the first try, so we're gonna go down and see if we can't get that piece of metal turned over. Maybe tear some trees down in the meantime. Sound like we're fixing to take off. We're not, though. So I got it uncovered, but I think I found something else. The skid steer is in front of where the piece of metal was, but this is what I didn't know. Oh, I just shifted that one. Okay. I'm kind of scared to... I don't know, y'all. I do not have any idea. Maybe it's just a hole that a critter made. Well, I kind of created a whole lot of confusion for myself, but I still don't understand why they had these two big, huge sheets of metal down here in the thick of the woods. Let's see. The other piece is back behind me. And y'all can see it makes quite a easy pathway. Now here's the other piece right over here. So I might try to move it out of the way as well. It is very heavy. I can't, it looks flimsy like that, but it's just because it's propped up. I mean, I cannot move it. I don't know what gauge this is, but it is quite thick. Huh. I'm rather confused. You can see there's quite a big bit of rubbish on the ground, that down trees and whatnot, that needs to be piled up so we can burn it in the future. And I think that's what I'm going to do until I get to the point where I can at least see the tank and make me a path to get it out of here. Y'all, look at what I just found. Do you reckon Holly knows where this is? I can't. Got to clean the window a little bit, but right there, it is her ball. And I'll be sure to grab that for her before I head out of these woods. I parked my skid steer back up at the top because I wanted to come down here and get this, which I have no doubt Holly has no clue where this is. She's just like Jason when it comes to setting stuff down and not remembering where she put it. And that's not a knock at him, it's just the truth. You know, they say people are like their dogs, and I guess I'm a bit like Dee Dee in so many ways, but I wanted to show y'all my accomplishments, and then we'll talk about my not accomplishments. So you can see behind me, I made a pretty good path through here. There was no way I could come up from the old barn from behind here without clearing it out, and I just decided it would be easier for me to come down over here. And guess what? Here's the old tank. This was my goal, to be able to get this out. And I think I will be able to. I think I can pull it through the trail that I made and then put it in the bucket. Y'all, I don't know what this was for. I want to see, I want to get it, I want to be able to pull it out because you can see that they had a hose under it. How did they pump? There was no electricity. How did they pump to where they needed to go? I just don't get it. But I'm going to try to figure it out. Now on to the things that I didn't plan to happen. So what I did last time, I'm caught. I'm really caught on a sticker bush. Oh my goodness, look at the thorns on this thing. I'm glad that wasn't my head. Let's see if I can break it off. Not my head, just a thorn. I'm not leaving my hat here. I can take it off my head and get it. There we go. Okay, so what I did last time was I used the bobcat to clear out the area, and then I used the tractor to come in behind me and clean up and pull it out of the way. This is quite a bit of mess. I made quite a mess, but I did what I set out to do, and the trees came up from the roots. I saw a bird. It's rained a lot, so it's kind of wet down here. I don't really want to get my tractor down here. Skid steer's got tracks on it. Still can get stuck, but needless to say, we're getting on up into the day, so that may be a project for tomorrow. But I gotta show y'all what I did, and it's not good. And I can guarantee you, I didn't set out for this to happen. All right, now for the things that didn't go so well. And it's not good either. It's really not good. I haven't told Jason yet. I haven't even been up to the house. I kind of broke the glass. Well, I didn't do it. I didn't do it. A limb did it. But that's why you have this cage here. You can see how shattered it is right there. And this is not good. Not good at all. I don't even know who could repair that kind of glass. Could we do it ourselves? Can I just get a piece of glass cut, and do I get a glass company to come to the house? I don't have a trailer to get the bobcat anywhere. Not a good day. Good day, not a good day. I didn't even know it when it happened. It hit it, and you can see that's probably where it came in, and I'm thankful for the cage because it probably would have been very bad if the cage hadn't been here, or the glass. I went up to the house to try to see if I could actually get the window, without having a glass company cut it, and I came back down here. I did find the window. It's about $100, and it is a gasket with instructions that I should be able to put it in myself. But something happened on my way back down. That is, I got over to the old barn. We have this swing sitting in front of the door because what was happening is when the boys had access to down here, they would push the door open and get inside the old barn. And there's all kind of stuff that they don't need to get into in there. So we put that there, and Pink uses the cat door. So I get back down here, and there is a cat that does not belong to us coming out of the barn, coming out of the old barn. It shot off into the woods, going that way. And I have noticed that when I feed Pink, she's looking around, which is odd because she's always felt that, you know, she was safe and whatever. And I even told Jason, I said, Pink's acting weird. And I think that's probably why. I think she's got company, and it's a stray cat. So what I would like to do is, this has been Pink's safety since she lived here, since she moved here. But I want to ensure that she doesn't have any competition for food, and this may not work. This may not work, but I want to give her a chance to try to live in the shop. It may not work, like I said, but she's been acting just a little bit off, and then me putting my eyes on that stray cat. Don't know if it's male or female, don't know if it's fixed. I don't know anything else except for I saw a cat come out of the barn and it took off into the woods. It's not one of ours. So I'm gonna gather some things. Bobby C kind of made me stand still anyway because of the window. So we'll get that taken care of, and I will then get the tank pulled out on another video. But right now, animals are always our first priority here on our farm. And this was a fun day with me playing in the woods, but now it's tables have turned, and it is now on the health of Pink. Well, the safety of Pink, our cat. Got Miss Pink, and we're gonna walk over to the shop and just let her walk around and see what she thinks. If she acts like she's just not having it when I shut the doors behind her, I'm not going to make her stay. But I also am going to figure out a better situation, because I don't know if the cat's friendly, and I certainly don't want her to be scared. This is her territory. If Pink will stay in the shop, I can possibly catch this cat, have him or her, of course, try to make sure there's no home. Obviously, there's no home in the woods, but there's no houses over there. Make sure it's not posted as a missing cat. And then see if it's spayed or neutered and have that done. And if it chooses to stay down there, that's fine. But we've got to put Pink first and then figure out what we'll do from there. Well, I see somebody that you are familiar with, but y'all have never been so much friends. You've just tolerated each other. Tucker, dust bathing in the road. Tucker, Pink and I are going to take a walk. We're going to go to the shop, which you are all familiar with, and Pink is familiar with the cat door. So if this were to work out, we can put a cat door in the shop, and Pink can come and go to safety as she pleases. And who's to say that that cat down there won't move up here? But that's why I'm planning ahead. And if I can get Pink in a safe location, Tucker doesn't go down there, I can possibly trap and neuter or spay the cat that's down there. Last thing we need is unwanted kittens. What you think, girl? You want to be the new shop cat? Come here, Pinky. Kitty, kitty, kitty. Come here. Come here. What you think? Huh? So far, so good? What you think? Huh? I heard you purring. Yes, I did. I've got a bed in here. You look pretty content. Yeah. So far, so good. Yeah, I see you drooling. I do. I see you drooling. This would be perfect for you if you would just stay here. I don't want you to be scared. Well, I'm not going to say it will work, but I'm definitely not going to say it won't work. I have left her in there for just a minute. I'm going to run and get a litter box, fill it up with some litter, make sure she's got water, food, so she feels safe, and we're going to give this a go, at least through tonight. If she's busting to come out in the morning, we will let her out. But I hope that she will calm down and realize that the shop is a safe place for her until at least we get situation figured out where she was, because her attitude was just different, and I certainly don't want her to be scared in her own environment. I am loaded down with supplies, down to the pink bowl that I found inside that I've got cleaned and ready for Miss Pink. in the shop. I've also got a litter box and some food. So I'm gonna take it over there, and hopefully she has stayed calm while I was gone. Well, I got her fixed up with her food, water, and her litter box. And when I came in, she was nowhere to be found. I had to call her, and she came out from the back corner. So I'm sure she's just snooping around and trying to find her way, as she's doing right this very minute. She's fixing to jump up on top of one of Jason's cabinets. And there's nothing in here that can harm her. There's no antifreeze on the ground or anything like that. So, plus it'll keep her extra warm. And I've got her little heat pad that I've already got in here plugged in. This room is well insulated, so it stays a lot warmer than the old barn does down there. It would benefit her in many ways if she would decide that she's going to stay. So, fingers crossed that that's the case. But like I said, I'm not going to make her stay somewhere she doesn't want to, but I am going to get with my friend Catherine and get a trap set down there at the old barn. If that cat doesn't come in and steal Pink's food, and the only source of food it has is the trap, so I can indeed make sure that it is spayed or neutered or get it care that it needs, then it should go right in the trap and we shouldn't have any problem. Stay tuned, and I will report back as to what happens with Miss Pink. Y'all, I want to say she's going to like this okay. She's not trying to get to the door. She's just wandering around, and I really think that this might work out. What you think, girl? If you stay, I'm going to get you a window seat, because I think your favorite place to sit when you're not outside will be right over there in that window. So I'll go ahead and get you a window seat, and then I got to get Jason to put you a door in, because you're not going to be locked up in here. This is just to show you where the safe place is and where your food and water will be. So hope this works out for you. And y'all, this was quite a menagerie of things going on. But that's what happens on day to day on a farm. You get started doing something, and then something else happens, and not necessarily animal-wise, but today I just had to put what I was doing aside and take care of Pink first. I just don't want her to get hurt, and she's been by herself for so long that another cat, of course my mama's cats do go down to the old barn. They do go down there, and Pink just kind of steers clear of them. But today was different. It was something that she didn't recognize. They may have ended up being best of friends, but I still need to make sure that the cat is spayed or neutered to prevent having kittens, and we don't need a cat having kittens here on the farm. So stay tuned, and hope you enjoyed this video. Until next time, y'all be good.